What's going on, people? It's Ricardo Francis, aka Ricardo Lifting here. I tend to get a lot of beginners asking me questions, saying that they've never really started on their fitness journey. And I thought I wanted to give you a basic breakdown, something that's really easy and digestible to take away that anyone could apply to start getting their fitness results. Now, the reality is, a lot of people come to me for weight loss, but I wanted to give my top 3 tips on nutrition to be able to get the results that you want. Now, I always start with nutrition. Why? Because a lot of people, especially when it comes to weight loss, can get the results that they want just from focusing on their nutrition, not even doing any form of exercise apart from their normal day-to-day runnings, but just focusing on nutrition. So I'm going to give my top 3 tips that can help you to start on your weight loss journey. And even if you have started but you haven't looked at these 3 things, I say go back and review these 3 things anyway, because trust me, without these 3 things, you're probably going to reach some form of hurdle, or you're going to reach some form of plateau. So tip number 1, water. How much water are you consuming? So this is something that easily gets overlooked by a lot of people. You got to think your body comprises of 70% water. 70%. That's the majority of your body is water. So if we're not consuming a lot of water, where are we getting that water from? Yeah, you might get a little bit of water from food, but it just kind of highlights the importance of water, let alone muscle function, brain function, skin, hair, nails, etc. So water is vital. Now, the average person is meant to have 2 liters of water, but let's be real, who is the average person? Are they male? Are they female? Do they exercise? Do they just sit down? How much do they weigh? How tall are they? That's very vague to say the average person should drink 2 liters of water. So there is a calculation that's a little bit more accurate. Where this number comes from, I can't tell you, but it seems to do the trick. This trial has been tested on me, my clients, etc. So the calculation, very simple. It's 0.0333 multiplied by your weight in kilograms. So say if I weighed 80 kilograms, which I'm not that far off, and I multiplied that by 0.0333, that would give me, let's round it to say 2.7. So 2.7 liters. That's how much I should be consuming. So I do, for my body weight does fluctuate between 80 and 85. So that's still 2.7 to 2.8 liters. I drink about 3 liters a day, and that's quite optimal for me. Now, it will be slightly dependent based on your activity levels. If you sweat out and exercise a lot and train for an hour, you might want to drink slightly on the higher end. That's why I drink 3 liters rather than 2.7. But I would never drink on the lower end. Trust me, you'll feel the difference if you're drinking the right amount of water. Yes, too much water is bad for you, but do you know how much water you have to drink for it to be too much water? On top of that, if you are eating like a normal human being, it's going to be very hard for you to drink so much water that you flush out all the good stuff from your body. So if you're drinking about 3 liters of water a day, that's not a problem. But yeah, it all depends on, said, activity levels. But trust me, you'll notice a difference when you start to drink enough water. You'll notice that your skin is a lot clearer, it's less dry, your mouth doesn't feel dry all the time, your eyes won't be itchy all the time. That's another thing, especially for hay fever sufferers. Your digestive health will be a lot better. You won't be craving things all the time and so hungry, because a lot of times when you feel hungry, sometimes it's just that you're thirsty, but your stomach will react in a very similar way in terms of you'll feel hungry. So just start by drinking the right amount of water for your body weight. So number 2, something to focus on is calories. Now, you probably heard people say calories. It is essential for your body. Calories is ultimately energy. Calories is the measure of energy through your food. Some people are like, I don't want to track my calories. Sounds long. Well, would you feel comfortable driving your car a certain distance if your fuel gauge wasn't working? So you have no idea how much fuel you have in your car. Most probably not. That's the reality. So I do recommend everyone find a way to track how much they're consuming and find a way to track how much you're burning. Now, so a car is something that is very simple in comparison to the human body. And even a car is quite complicated in itself. You put in your fuel, it tells you that you've got a full tank. Your car will calculate roughly how much, especially in these new cars, how far you can get from the fuel that you have in your car. Versus the human body, we're not so complicated. We don't have that level of accuracy for our bodies, because you burn calories doing anything from walking, thinking, sleeping, writing. Everything we do burns calories. There are calculations out there, as well as apps, that will estimate how many calories you should be consuming just to maintain your weight, let alone lose weight and gain weight. MyFitnessPal is a great one that I use with my clients. You put in your data, your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, and it calculates roughly how many calories you should be having. It also does it depending on your goals, whether you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, etc. And at what rate. It will calculate how much you should be consuming. That's an easy guide for you to be able to see how many calories you need to consume and just consume it. Track your food, find out if you're eating roughly the right amount, and just stay there. At the end of the day, to be in a calorie deficit, you just want to be within a 500 calorie range, same as a surplus. That's the way you've got healthy weight loss or weight gain. And that way you're ensuring that you are getting weight loss or weight gain. If you're outside of that 500 calories, so say you're meant to eat 2,000 calories to maintain, and you're only eating 1,400, the likelihood is that you might actually put on fat stores, and I don't want to say malnourished, but you're probably going to lack certain nutrients to be able to function properly. So that's why you need to be within a healthy range to make sure that you're getting the results and consuming enough food to function. Now, most people, if they focus just on calories in, calories out, they will get the results that they want when it comes to weight loss or weight gain. If you want to get a bit more specific, then you might start looking at macronutrients, etc. But from a starting point, calories in versus calories out. Now, there are things like a Fitbit or activity tracker that can track how many calories you burn throughout a day. Now, I don't expect you to match up with your day every single day to say, okay, one day you burn 3,500 calories, one day you burn 2,000 calories, etc. It's about the average, because if you find that average of how much you burn throughout the week, then you can average out how much you need to be eating every day and just eat that amount of calories every day, rather than trying to fluctuate how much you eat with your daily burning calories, because that gets way too complicated. That's the easiest guide and the easiest way to figure it out. But as I said, you don't necessarily need that. You can use a calculator to find out how much, if it takes into consideration your activity level, and just base it off that. And then you can adjust it slightly, but only after 3 months of trying it, sticking to those calories and seeing what happens to your body. So if you are healthily losing weight, stick to that. If you're trying to lose weight, you're healthily gaining weight. If you're trying to gain weight, stick to that. If you find that you're gaining weight when you're meant to be losing, then you can drop the calories a little bit. Literally, when I say a little bit, no more than 100 to 200 calories, to see if you start to lose weight in that sense. But just be mindful, if you are in a calorie deficit, don't then increase your activity, because you can burn too many calories and therefore your deficit will now be greater than that 500 calories, which is counterproductive. So I always say, just stick to the base rate based on your current activity and stay at that current activity. If you increase your activity, you need to increase the calories you're consuming. Simple maths. If you try not to do that, if you try to eat too little calories and then run a marathon, that's just like trying to drive from London to Manchester and back on a quarter tank of petrol. It's impossible. Your body cannot take that. You know, the car will break down, your body will break down the same way. So just make sure that you're eating the right amount of calories to be in a healthy calorie range. Now the third and final one, maybe something that people don't tend to think about. Something that kind of surprised me when I thought about it, but the reality is it's really important. And that's making sure that you're getting your fruit and veg. Now, some people often neglect it, but you don't seem to realize how important fruit and veg is. Luckily for me, I consume a lot of vegetables, especially not so much fruit, but I do try to incorporate fruit into my diet. But trust me, the nutrients that you get from it, so now we're talking about micronutrients, are so important. You know, from vitamins to minerals, etc. You get so much out of fruit and veg. It's really good for overall function. You know, things for your skin, your nails, your hair, your teeth, muscle function, brain function, vision, everything, the works. You know, fruit and veg kind of cover all the micronutrients needed to assist in all of those things. Now, I'm not saying you have to calculate how much vitamin A, vitamin B you're getting in your body. No. I'm not saying you need to do that, but make sure you're incorporating enough fruit and veg in your body. Now, how much is enough is dependent on person to person again, but if 30% of your calories is consumed through fruit and veg, you should be all right, at least 30%. Where I get 30% from is, again, trial and tested, depending on my clients, etc. Sometimes that percentage is more, depending on their goals. Sometimes that percentage is at that 30% mark. I try not to have diets or make plans or even macro coach people if they're not eating at least 30% fruit and veg, because I said it's so vital and important. If you're focusing on just foods that focus on protein, carbs, and fats, and they're not from fruit or veg sources, your body won't be able to sustain it for very long. You know, you will start to feel lethargic. You know, you might start getting bad breath. You know, your hair might start falling out. Like, loads of different things can happen from having a lack of nutrients. Me personally, I eat a lot of fruit and veg, and I also supplement a lot of my vitamins as well to make sure I'm getting more than enough. Yes, you can overdose, but again, how much do you have to consume to overdose? But it's just making sure that I'm getting enough, not only because I want to be healthy, but also because I know I exercise, there's probably a bigger strain on my body to need those nutrients. So therefore, I make sure that I have more than enough vitamins and minerals to be able to have a healthier lifestyle. So I'm going to recap 3 things to focus on. Firstly, making sure you're getting enough water in your diet. You know, 0.0333 multiplied by your body weight in kilograms equals how much water you should be drinking in liters a day. Secondly, making sure you're getting enough calories in your body to get the results that you need, and making sure you're in a healthy calorie range, so plus or minus 500 calories depending on your goal. That's from your maintenance weight. If you're using an app like MyFitnessPal, it'll calculate it for you. You don't have to do the plus or minus because it does it for you based on your goals. So just stick to whatever it says and just go from there. Said you can use an activity tracker to track how many calories you burn throughout the day, but it's finding the average throughout the week and then eating that average value that's in a slight deficit. And thirdly, make sure you eat enough fruit and veg a day. Making sure you eat at least, I would say 30% of your diet is fruit and veg, at least, minimum, to make sure you're getting enough micronutrients throughout your day for your body to perform optimally and be healthy. I hope this has helped. I hope this has given you some insight and knowledge. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with at least one friend. Anyway, that's me. I'm out. Peace.